What's going on, guys? Welcome back to AJ's Phoenix Journey. Today I'll be talking about how facing adversity and different challenges at a young age helped give me my creative energy and talent that I have now and the passion I have. So, from a young age, I was diagnosed with multiple conditions, and they were very rare conditions that weren't very mainstream at the time because they were either underdiagnosed or just not very well known by many doctors. And because of that, I there was no playbook, there was no examples for me to live by as I was living my life and kind of coming into my own in a sense throughout my younger years. So because of that, I had to get scrappy and creative and find creative solutions to those obstacles I faced. So, for example, I have what's called Kupfel syndrome, and essentially, my spine is not fused properly. So that creates issues with standing for a long time or trying to lift heavy things. Sometimes I'll feel it. So what I had to realize, especially as I went into weightlifting and certain things like that, is I had to find ways to adapt, and whether that be take breaks or carry lighter loads or change how I'm carrying things. That was a big thing for me when I first just even existing. So that is the first one. The second one, I have something called Sprengel's deformity in my shoulders, where my shoulder blades are not aligned properly. And because of that, I have always had issues, especially when I first started weightlifting. When I do like the squats or different shoulder and back exercises, since my shoulders aren't aligned properly, I would have issues trying to do those workouts because they wouldn't work the muscle all the way, or I would be relying on other muscles to do the function. So what I had to do was I had to work around those obstacles so I could still do the machine, still work out those muscles, but it wasn't creating a strain in another aspect of my body. So for squats, for example, when I do squats, I do the machine, but I rack it towards the top and I adjust the machine so it sits on my shoulders properly. And then with my facial paralysis, which I have had since I was born too, I when I go to sleep, my eyes don't close all the way fully on both sides. So I would always wake up in the middle of the night with dry eyes, itchy, red, just not feeling good. So what I started doing recently was when I go to bed, I have a wedge pillow and I'll put a damp washcloth that I've damped with warm water. I'll put it right over top of my pillow and rest my eyes on it. So that way, when I wake up, I feel more refreshed because I there's moisture touching my eye all night. So those are just a few things, and then also having undiagnosed ADHD and autism growing up, I had to learn how to socially adapt. I had to learn how to kind of find my place because I was bullied a lot as a kid, so that was a big aspect for me where I had to just learn how to survive early in life in ways that most people do not. And we all face our own challenges, absolutely. But I feel like those challenges that I faced that early on in my journey of life forced me to creative problem solve in ways that most people wouldn't think of. And what that did was that translated into other areas of my life. So I became really good at creating food pairings, really good at making art. I was a DJ at one point. So I feel like there's something that happens in our brain when we go through those obstacles and have to creative problem solve like that is it changes our brain chemistry and the way we digest information, the way we detect certain patterns, the way we just do things in our daily life because we feel as though we have to apply that same creative problem solving to everything, which in some ways that helps us a lot. Absolutely. Like solving certain problems that, I don't have answers to. I use that pattern now, and that was very much key for me, especially throughout college, and now that I'm now that I'm older and I'm going to the gym, trying to manage a schedule, I've come up with creative ways to make sure that I am handling all my responsibilities and doing what I need to do while also giving myself time to rest. Like I am always on the move. And the fact that I have this gift, it's one of those things where I'm just so happy that it's translated into something positive and that I'm able to use it to help others, especially with content creation, with coaching, with social media. It's opened more doors for me, the fact that I now have this skill, and it's honestly inspired me more because I think if I was able to problem solve with this and come up with creative solutions, it kind of makes it feel that I can do anything I put my mind to, because I'll always be thinking of ways to go around the obstacle. I don't call anything roadblocks. There's nothing stopping me from what I want to do. It's just how I navigate it. Like, so when I go into a new situation where I might be uncomfortable, where I might be trying to figure out what to do, I might feel like it's too overwhelming. What I do now is I just start. It's better to show up and do it and figure out how to push through as you go along rather than never start in fear of not starting perfect, right? And you can always find creative ways to problem solve. So, for example, I starting this podcast. I was ruminating over it for weeks. Right, I was considering: do I start a podcast? Is it worth it? Are people going to like what I have to say? I don't even know editing, and I have this little mic here that I use for my social media videos, and I have a tripod, and I just started with that. I didn't need a big setup. I didn't need a big script. I didn't need editing softwares because I figure the content I bring, the value I bring by just talking to you guys in this manner, I feel like that's a skill set within itself, and the rest will come later as I figure out what this podcast becomes. But uh, there's something so there's something so special to me about having that mindset with everything, that nothing feels impossible because of what I've gone through so far. And I just feel like it's a big skill to have, especially in the age of fast consumerism. Everything's at the touch of our fingertips. We don't have to wait for much. It's There's something so satisfying about knowing that you had to put in the effort, knowing that you had to create a problem solve, knowing that you had to figure out how to solve obstacles, and then you get to the result of that. Kind of what I was talking about with going up the mountain. You don't know how you're going to get up the mountain. You know you want to get up the mountain, but then once you figure it out and you just go with it, when you're at the top, you're like, oh my gosh, that was not as difficult as I thought. But you also realize everything you've overcome to do it, and then going up the next mountain is just even easier. So it's like, biggest takeaway is just start, because you may be facing obstacles. Yes, you may be facing unknowns of, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know what's involved in this. But if you never start and you always wonder, you always think, what if? You'll always question, did you waste your potential not doing something? And I feel like that's a big aspect to life. Going through what I did as at that young of an age, being forced to solve, to be able to live, to be able to build a quality of life for myself, it was a blessing and a curse. It was a blessing because I now have the skill to where nothing seems as daunting, but it was a curse too because it also changed my mindset to be a lot more. I can be pessimistic sometimes, get in my own head, because I wonder, am I going to be able to get to where I want to go to? These are all the things holding me back. These are my setbacks. But then I switch to the positive side of thinking, to where I can just get through it. So I feel like there's a lot of, I don't want to say trauma associated with it, but it's a sense of I doubt myself a lot. And as I discover the positive side of this gift more and more as I get older, I'm learning to, okay, it's okay to have a healthy amount of doubt. in anything you do, but you also have to have the confidence that you've brought yourself this far, right? So what will it take to get you further to where you want to be? And I feel that's the overall message. Just adversity is the key to unlocking what you want in life. It's it's making that tough decision, getting through that hard time period to build, right? Nothing in life comes easy. Nothing's going to come just because you want it, right? Nothing's going to come just because you have a loosely written goal. It's all about how can you get through the trials? How can you get through the challenge to come out the other side to where you want to be? And that's what I will always preach. If someone comes to me and they're wondering what how can I be successful? I want to do this, I want to do that, but I don't know how to be successful with it. I always tell them, I say, start out by doing a self-analysis. What's difficult about what you're trying to go after, what you're attempting to go after? And why is it difficult? Like, just make a list. These are all the obstacles. These are why they're difficult. These are my strong suits to try to solve them. These are my weak points where I may need a bit of help, but I can figure that out along the way. And then from there, just create a list of actionable steps to start. You can start. So, for example, say you want to build a photography business. Okay, I want to build a photography business, but I only have my phone, right? I only have my phone. I have a free Instagram page, free TikTok page, but I have nothing else. Okay, start taking the best quality pictures on your phone. Start practicing. Start practicing for free for friends, right? And then once you get a book of business and you find people who like your photography style, your film style, then they start becoming your actual clients and paying you. And then as you make money, then you can get the camera. Then you can get the professional website built. But it's all about getting over those initial hurdles and just starting, even if it's not perfect. And that's that's the message I'll leave with you guys. I hope you guys had a great day, and I will talk to you next time.